Hello, my name is Dave Winfree. Today we're going to be looking at one of several tutorials that are on the internet. This one is called the Compass of Consciousness, how to use it, and why it's very useful and important to know about. The most important thing about the Compass of Consciousness is it lays out in front of a person a whole series of energy fields. These are powerful archetypal energy fields that have their own unique vibrations and patterns, and they shape everything that comes into that field. We come into those fields by the thoughts that we hold, by the emotions that we are focusing on. And when we come into those fields, they're very powerful, and they begin to shape and organize our perceptions and our experience, and they actually begin to give us a view of the world. It's like putting a special lens over your eyes, and you begin to see the world that way according to the patterns of that energy field. Probably most of us have encountered an energy field that has the name fear. Now, fear has a certain feeling to it, and there's certain thoughts that go with it. And when you're in a fear state, you look at life differently, and you would have different thoughts, you'd have different emotions, and you would take different actions, and you would see different sorts of opportunities, or perhaps not see opportunities that you would see if you were in some other state. It's good to have all of the major levels in front of one, so that when just looking, just with a glance, you can have a sense of proportion. You can see the wide range and the entire scope of these major energy fields, and you can begin to realize when you are in one of those fields, and that it is shaping your perceptions and your experience. If you don't realize that, if everything is just a bunch of stuff that you go through and you don't realize how the things around you are affecting you, you don't realize that there are even energy fields, then you can wind up in places that you might not really want to go had you had an opportunity to think or to choose or to discriminate. So when you look and you see that there's a place called unity, clarity and serenity, that there's a place called positive, intention, optimism, willingness, and there's a place called grief and sorrow, and another place called depression, you can begin to decide which of these fields, or you might even call them neighborhoods, which of these neighborhoods do you wish to reside in. And indeed, you might want to visit one or more of these from time to time and spend a little bit of time there and experience it. But it's one thing to visit and be a tourist, and it's another to take up residence and make that your permanent dwelling place. So the Compass of Consciousness is very important. One analogy I use is it always points up. If you don't know the difference between up and down, or if life is a little confusing and you're having trouble finding up, you can take a quick look at this one little page chart, and you can see where up is, and you can begin to direct your thoughts and your attention and your intention toward up. The neat thing is that the lowest level energy fields of alienation and depression and guilt and shame and fear and anger are very low energy compared to the higher energy fields of love and unconditional love and acceptance and illumination and enlightenment. These higher level fields have tremendous power for making positive transformation in the world. The lower ones have almost no power to create positive transformation in the world. If you're a light worker or a healer or someone on a spiritual path, or if you're just beginning to realize that there might be a spiritual path, to have a guide that shows you what is higher, so that when you're stuck, you can begin to look around and say, oh, I see that I'm here, but I would really like to be here. The neat thing about this is that when you begin to focus your attention on where you want to be, when you see where you are, where you've been, and you begin to focus on where you want to be, the attention and intention of focusing on where you want to be takes you into that field, connects you with it. And if it's a powerful energy field, one of the higher ones, it's like gravity. You know, gravity on Earth pulls you down, but these higher energy fields pull you up. And it's great to connect with a powerful source of energy that pulls you up. So when I was talking to a friend once, and he said that he had used the compass of consciousness, he said, Dave, I was below despair. I was off the chart. You couldn't even find me. And he said, I picked up the chart, I picked up the compass of consciousness, and he said it was like being in a swamp, and I walked my way out. What that means is that when you're in a swamp, when you find yourself in a depression or a low place, you start feeling around. Maybe you reach out with your foot and you find a little place under you that is more firm than another place, and you place your weight on it and you move up a little bit. Or you reach out and you find a stick or a branch that you can grab onto. It gives you a little bit of connection, and you pull on that and you begin to pull your way out of the swamp. What you do with the compass of consciousness is very similar. You look at one of the points that you can connect with that kind of jumps out at you, and maybe you see intention or optimism, and you focus on that and you say, what would it be like to be in that place? How would I feel right now if I were in a place of intention and optimism instead of down here in depression and despair? And as you focus on that, you say, what kind of thought would I be thinking right now? What kind of feelings would I have? Who do I know who lives in a place of optimism? As you do that, you enter the field, the gigantic, infinite, beyond time and space field of optimism and intention and willingness and moving ahead. And that field begins to shape all of your perception and experience. And you begin to think positive and optimistic thoughts. You begin to take positive and optimistic actions. And you see opportunities in front of you and doors opening that you would never see in these lower level places. So those are a few of the things that are very important uses of the map of consciousness. And I said map of consciousness. Some people call it the spreadsheet of consciousness, the compass of consciousness, the Rosetta Stone of consciousness. Several different names for it out there on the internet.